Hello, everyone, and welcome to BitCast episode 6. So, today's episode is, I think you know what it's going to be about. First, I'm just going to go ahead and say there's not going to be much Nintendo things in this podcast. I also just want to address it. No, I'm not stopping making Nintendo content. It's just, it's Apple Week this week. It was. That's ended now. And also, I a touchy subject, but there hasn't been much Nintendo content to do right now. But don't worry, I'm actually planning a special video on Mario Day. It's not going to be what you're expecting. Lord willing, I can get it out in time, but now that Apple Week is over, I'll be transitioning into that. But of course, y'all know what this podcast is about. So let's just jump into the episode theme so I can talk about the episode theme freely, I guess. Anyways, today's episode theme is that is right, y'all. Apple Week recap. That is going to be the main thing we're doing today. Recapping the Apple Week we had. Sorry, I had to move my microphone. But we are going to be recapping the Apple Week and all the new products and the MacBook Neo, which is the best new thing. And then, Nintendo. Also, on Tuesday, had a Indie World showcase. It was only 15 minutes, and we'll get into that in a minute. But first, let's talk about what we saw from Apple. So here we are on the newsroom, and we got a total of 9 new products this week. So first of all, we got the new iPhone 17e. We also got the new, and when I say new, a lot of this is just chip swaps, but we'll go into everything in depth. We got the new iPad Air M4, the new MacBook Air M5. We got the new Studio Display, one of the most boring things ever. The all-new Studio Display XDR. We also got the new MacBook Pro with M5 Pro and M5 Max. And last but not least, the star of the show, the all-new MacBook Neo, y'all. This is what I was looking forward to the most out of this week, and it is what I am most excited about. But we're going to talk about that last because it's the most exciting thing that they unveiled, in my opinion. So let's just start out with the iPhone 17e. I highly encourage y'all watch the video version, but you don't have to. It's not that important here. So the iPhone 17e, as we all predicted, got announced on Monday. And right off the bat, it's the same design, as you can see here, and for my audio listeners, it is the same design as you can see. But they did add a new color, finally. So there's finally a new color, and it's called Soft Pink. I really like this color. It wouldn't be something I get because I'm not a girl, and I'm not one of those guys that likes pink. But I actually really like this tone. It's a soft pastel type of pink. I'm surprised they just added a new color to the 17e, to be honest. And I'm glad they did because, come on now. Black and white for the 16e. Come on now, Apple. You can do better. You can afford more ink for your printer. So let's just jump in with what we got with the new 17e. So we got the new soft pink color. Now, under the hood of this iPhone is the A19 chip, which we saw in the iPhone 17. Now, from what I believe, it is a bend version, so let me go to the highlights here. Yep, A19 chip. So you're basically getting the better performance of the iPhone 17 chip with those neural accelerators in the GPU. I believe this has it. Yes, neural accelerators in the GPU. Now, if we go to, let's see here, compare. If you're wondering, audio listeners, I'm just going to Oh, oh my. Oh my, oh, ooh, ooh. They changed the whole website anyway. So it does have the A19 chip, but it is a binned version, just like it was with the 16E. You only get 4 CPU cores compared to 5 on the 17. But you know what? No one's really gonna care. The audience who is buying this is not going to care at all. Another new thing it got though is the C1X modem. So this has 2 times I don't know. Yes, 2 times faster cellular connectivity than the 16E, and it uses 30% less energy than the iPhone 16 Pro. Okay, I don't know why they had to tell us that. This is overall just going to be better. It also gets MagSafe. Yes, y'all. This was like one of the biggest complaints, one of my biggest complaints. Apple finally did it. They finally conquered the biggest hill. It now has MagSafe. It should have had it all along though, because I think that's a core iPhone feature. But yes, it does have MagSafe, and it also has next generation portraits, which is basically like, where you can change the focal length and everything after the fact. I was boggled by this because I didn't realize the 16E didn't have it, and I am because here's the deal, this 16E could do it. This is just one of those things that Apple did to make it more appealing. Because the thing is it has the same camera hardware as the 16E, and yeah, you could make the argument that it needed the A19 to process that. No, it didn't. That has been around since the iPhone 15, y'all. And the iPhone 16 can do it, and it has the same chip as the iPhone 16, just with one less GPU core. That would not affect it. But hey, at least you have it now. At least you have it now. I mean, you can't really complain about that, if I do say so myself. But it's just one of those things like, why Apple? And see, that was one of my complaints with the 16E. Why? Why did they not include this? But I will say I'm very happy that now with the 17E, they are now including a lot of those things that we were like, why Apple? Okay, but the honestly the sealer of the deal is that this now starts at 256 gigabytes of storage for the same $599 price, just like they did with the 17. That is legendary. And okay, let's just get down to this phone. It is a very, very similar phone to the iPhone 16e. Very minimal upgrades. You got a new color, a new chip, a new modem, MagSafe, and a new software feature. Now, and most of the features are subtle. I think MagSafe is actually a big feature. Like, I'm gonna be just honest with y'all right now. I genuinely think that MagSafe is such a good feature alone that it would be worth upgrading from the 16E. But of course, the audience buying this phone is not going to be that person. But honestly, I think this is such a better value than the 16E, and it's just because of that storage. Honestly, I think the 16E would have been such a better value if it just had more storage, but even then it didn't have MagSafe. So honestly, I think Apple fixed all of the deal breakers of the 16E and doubled the storage. I genuinely think that finally the 17E is a great value. The 16E was okay, it wasn't really the best value, but this I think nailed that. There is still some missing things from it, like cinematic mode and action mode and some other things. And it also has ceramic shield too. I forgot to mention that because I forgot to put it in my notes. So yeah, okay. But honestly, I think Apple put more effort into this 17E than the 16E. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you have the 16E, you're not getting it. But also, we have to consider who this phone is for. This is for someone who maybe has an iPhone SE2, which is ancient at this point, or maybe just coming from Android and they're just a plain Jane person when it comes to tech. They don't need a fancy iPhone 17 Pro Max or iPhone Air, So, I still think the 17 is the best value out of all of them. But you know what? It is what it horrid is, y'all. Alright, and I'm going to be honest, we are now going to talk about what I think is one of the most boring updates we got, and that is the new M4 iPad Air. Now, you're going to see a trend here, and that is chip swap. So it is quite literally the same exact design as the iPad Air M3, as you can see here, audio listeners, it is the same exact design, same color, same everything. They even reused the website, which they have been doing for the past 3 years. The only difference is it now has the M4 chip. Now, on the surface, that's pretty boring, but they did add some under the surface things like 12 gigabytes of RAM now, which is genuinely amazing, even though it doesn't have macOS. Okay, I'm not one of those persons. I just have to get into the side tangent here. I think the iPad is its own separate thing, and we shouldn't try to make it a Mac because it's just its own thing. You cannot make something that it isn't. You know what I mean? Same for the Mac. I don't want a touchscreen MacBook, but Tim's gonna do it anyways. John Turnus, just take over. Please, kick Tim out. Okay? Take him out. Not kill him, obviously. That's not PG friendly. But, just replace him. YouTube, don't ban me for saying that. So, yeah. It also does have the C1X, C1X and N1 chip, which enables Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6, and better cellular capability if you're one of the very few people who have the cellular option. But okay, it's very boring. And, but again, it's just a spec bump, it's just a chip upgrade. This is one of those things that if you had the M3 Air, or even M2 or Air, or even M1 Air, you're not going to get. I mean, maybe if you had the M1 Air. But I'm hoping for a redesign next year, maybe. But again, this is not for someone who doesn't have this. But these are very good quality of life upgrades that, if you have an older iPad, you'll be pleasantly happy with this one. So I'm not too upset about that. I mean, it's just really annoying, though, that, Alright, but now let's move on to the MacBook Air with M5 chip. It is basically the same treatment as the iPad Air. It gets the M5 chip now, so it's going to be really fast, and the M5 chip's quite a big upgrade, I must say, especially for machine learning / AI. AI is ruining our lives. Anyway, it is quite a big upgrade when it comes to that, but Apple also upped the storage. Now it starts with, if I can get to it, 512 gigabytes of storage and goes up to 4 terabytes. Now, they did raise the price, but I think it's quite worth it. We are in the RAM crisis right now. You have to understand that. And here's the deal. The M3 MacBook Air, which is the MacBook I currently have, was that same price. And it only had 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. So even though the price has gone up, you're getting significantly more value than the M4 or the M3, which was the same price. So I honestly think it's a worthy trade-off to get more storage. Honestly, I actually think this makes the base model of the MacBook Air an extremely good value, because you're getting extremely good specs and an extremely good laptop. I'm going to be honest, the MacBook Air is like one of the best laptops you can get. And honestly, with this new MacBook Neo, which we'll talk about in a little bit, The MacBook Air is no longer a budget friendly laptop. It's no longer the base model. This is genuinely in some areas, a pro level machine that you can do so much with. I have the M3 Air. I run my channel off of it. I'm currently recording this podcast off of it. I edit almost all my videos on this machine. It's my main machine. I don't have any other machine besides a junky Windows PC that I never use, and it has like an Intel Celeron, and it's horrible. Um, it is genuinely amazing, and I have some things to say about that when we'll get to the MacBook Neo. So I think, again, if you have the M4 or even the M3, you're not going to go out and get it. But if you have maybe an M1 or maybe you're still on Intel, sorry about that. Intel just makes me want to gag. It is what it is. And actually, Tuesday is where we got the most stuff because we have new displays. Okay, let's get to the most boring thing. The studio display. I think this is one of the most ridiculous updates Apple has ever done, because literally the only difference when it comes to the previous studio display, it now has two Thunderbolt 5 ports, and it now has the 12 megapixel center stage camera. That is literally the only difference between the previous one. And the thing is, it's a display, but they did not improve anything on the display. Come on, Apple. It's a display. Who cares about the webcam? Improve the display. Okay, but we did get an all-new display called the Studio Display XDR, replacing the Pro Display XDR. Genuinely, this is a great display. First of all, 27-inch 5K XDR with mini LED. That is literally next level mini LED. 120 hertz, which is more than the Pro Display. I honestly couldn't believe the Pro Display could only do 60. 1000 nits peak brightness in SDR and up to 2000 nits of HDR, which blows out the regular studio display. It comes with the stand, believe it or not. It has adaptive refresh rate. It is only slightly under $3,500, which is extreme expensiveness. Like, I think it's too expensive. I think it's not. I think it shouldn't be that expensive. But hey, it's better than the Pro Display XDR that was like $6,000 once you bought the stand, which was another $1,000. That was the most ridiculous thing Apple has ever done. I'm just gonna say it. There's a lot of people that are excited about this. I'm not really excited about it because I have no money or need for this. I have a monitor. I just got this actually like back in 2024. It's not the best monitor. It doesn't have speakers. You can see a good bit of the pixels, but it was pretty good, and it's curved too. So there's that. But okay, and then the last thing they announced before we move on to the new MacBook Neo is the new M5 MacBook Pro, and y'all. I feel my voice feels like it's gonna give out. I've talked so much this week with making a video every day. Anyways, we have the new MacBook Pro here, and again, it's just a chip swap. But I honestly think what makes it so good is these new chips. And okay, so let's just run it off. This new MacBook Pro has where is it in my notes? I don't see it. Oh yeah, it has the N1 chip with Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6. It now starts at 1 terabyte of storage for even the base model. They did raise the price across the board, like by $100 or $200, which was honestly I think less warranted. Very annoying. Now it's $1,600 or like $2,200 to get the M5 Pro at the base model, but you do get more storage. Faster SSD. Oh wait, no. Oh yeah, that was. Oh my word! That was the MacBook Air that got a faster SSD. Uh, the Max model starts with more RAM. Yeah. But let's talk about what I think makes these machines. That's the new M5 Pro and Max chips, y'all. So these now start with the same CPU, which I thought was weird. The M5 Pro starts with a 15 core and can go up to 18 core, and the Max starts with an 18 core and only an 18 core. They also introduced something called a super core. From what we know, it's basically the cores are the fastest CPU core ever, like ever. So they're just renamed them to super cores. Apparently, the M5 had this, and they just didn't call it that because they also renamed it. But hey, there we go. The new M5. What? Sorry about this. I'm like reading this, but the new M5 Max can go up to 40 core GPU, and the new M5 Pro up to 20 core. But the main thing is that the neural engine and memory bandwidth have been extremely improved. We're talking up to not like 4 times the max compute of the M4 Max when it comes to AI. Now, in graphics comport and sorry my word y'all. My as you can see am really tired right now cuz I anyways, 20% better graphics than the M4 Max. It's really only AI. It's still an incremental upgrade. I do feel like these are like one of the bigger incremental upgrades though, like I said in my video. I genuinely think these have honestly blown everything else out of the water. There were some chips that were catching up recently, but not anymore. These new chips have blown literally everything out of the water. It's just they're so expensive, you know? Honestly, like, my next Mac, I've thought about getting. I'm not sure. Like, honestly, I've genuinely thought about maybe getting a base M chip again. Because so far it's worked pretty well. So I've thought about just getting the MacBook Pro with the base M chip just to get better cooling. Then again, they raised the price on that, but you do get a terabyte. It's just I don't know if ever be able to afford an M Pro chip. Of course, we'll just have to see how advanced my editing and everything like that is by that point. But I'm honestly planning on sticking with my current one for many more years. My MacBook is one of those things that I'm not going to upgrade as often, like not as often as my phone or whatever. So it's been working great. I mean, I just think it's kind of incredible that the quote unquote low power chip can like do so much. Like I almost constantly when I'm at my desk have it hooked up to a secondary monitor using both displays, editing something, maybe working on a motion graphic on the other screen and then scripting something and then upload something. And it just handles it with a breeze. Like so amazing. Okay, now let's talk about the star of the show. The new MacBook Neo. Okay, y'all, so this is the budget MacBook that we have been rumored to be getting from Apple for about a year now, and it is genuinely better than I expected. So, first of all, it comes in this new design. It's reminiscent of like the current MacBook Air and Pro design. It's a bit thicker than the Air, same weight, but it comes in these beautiful new colors. So talking about colors, there is a new silver blush, which is like a nice, very soft pink color. A new citrus, which is like a yellow, like a very bright yellowy green. Well, it's not yellow. It's in between yellow and green, and it's more like it's hard to. I honestly, the word citrus I think perfectly describes it. And then my favorite, indigo, which is like a deep blue, it's a lot brighter than midnight, which is also a deep blue. But I really love this color, and I really love this design because it's so rounded. Like it honestly is so rounded, and I just love it. Alright, let's dig into some specs beyond that design. It has a exactly 13-inch liquid retina display with 500 nits of brightness and 1 billion colors. No P3 colors though. I was shocked at this. It has literally it's this 13 inches and it has 500 nits, which is very good for its price, and the same as the MacBook Air. And beyond that, it, I was just really surprised about that. All right, so let me go to the newsroom here. All right, so moving on to some of the specs. It has an A18 Pro chip inside. I kind of wish they used the 19, but and honestly, I'm still a bit iffy on how well this will perform just because. But I honestly think it's going to be really good for this audience, and I'll get into that at the end. Um, it has up to 16 hours of battery life. It does have a smaller battery. We were hoping for better battery, but. And also, moving on to more of the design, I should have talked about this earlier, but it does have the Magic Keyboard no backlight, which is honestly, if I didn't have my MacBook Air and this was several years ago, I would get this so much. The biggest downside for me, and honestly is kind of a deal breaker in some ways, is the no backlight keyboard. I could live with it, but it's definitely a minus. But the keys are slightly color matched. It has a multi-touch trackpad. Don't be fooled by the marketing. It is not a force touch trackpad, but it has all the same gestures. Basically, on the newer MacBooks, I don't know if you can hear that. Oh my, oh my, oh my. But it doesn't move. It vibrates. This one it just doesn't. It moves. It just doesn't vibrate, which is fine. It actually might feel really good. It has two USB-C ports. One's USB 3, one's USB 2. A lot of people have mocked this. I think it's fine. Again, for what it is, for this audience. They're not going to care really for this audience. And it has a 1080p camera with dual speakers on the side, as you can see here. Basically, they're on the side. It also has a headphone jack, which was placed really weirdly. Um, Honestly, these speakers on the side are giving me flashbacks to like the older MacBook Pros. Like, do y'all remember that? I wasn't alive. Well, that's not true. I was alive back then. I never had one though. But it is definitely giving me some really nostalgic flashbacks to that. You know what I mean? It has Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 6. So honestly, that is very good standard for what this is. It has six. Sorry, y'all. I'm very scrambled today. I'm so sorry. So those are the main specs. Just to run over them again, 13-inch liquid retina display, 500 nits of brightness, the new rounded design. It has USB 3, two USB-C ports, one USB 3, one USB 2, and a headphone jack. It has the all-new A18 Pro chip with 8 gigs of RAM, sadly, but honestly, again, I think this will be fine for what it is, because, back with the M3 MacBook Air, it had 8 gigs of RAM to start, and with the M2 and with the M1, support for an external display at 4K 60. I did forget to mention that. 16 hours of battery life, 1080p camera, and a Magic Keyboard with Touch ID on the 512GB model. No backlight, sadly. So this is what the keyboard looked like. As you can see, it's color matched. I think it looks so beautiful. Now, here's the deal. The base model does not come with Touch ID, but it is on the 512GB model. So it starts with 256 gigabytes. But for only $100 extra, you get 512 with Touch ID. And y'all, the best part about this Mac is the price. It is only $599 or $499 for education discount. This is unheard of. This is honestly gonna kill the Chromebook market, because not only is the A18 chip in this gonna be faster than most Chromebooks, it's having a well designed, a durable design, a good display, good speakers, good everything. No Chromebook's well rounded, and it's Chrome OS. That's the main problem, and you're getting the full macOS experience. I find it interesting that it is running macOS. Of course, it's a Mac, but we have the iPad people being like, we want macOS on an iPad, but there's Mac in the name. Like, why would they do that? So, I'm not exactly sure how the A18 Pro chip in this will perform, but here's my argument. So, for years now, a lot of people have been saying that the MacBook Air can do 99% of what almost everyone knew. 99% of the people don't need more than an Air. In fact, I think and it's been really proven because, I do professional work on an Air. I think the Air can do so much more than people need. So here's the deal. A lot of people have been like, well, this is just not going to be that good, whatever. Here's the deal. This is not for professionals. I think this is really good because the thing is that there is so many people that are never going to take advantage of the full power of the MacBook Air, yet they have to spend that money. This is so good because this is for those people that were never going to take advantage of the power of the MacBook Air. And now there's finally a Mac laptop that has still very powerful enough for word processing, web browsing, emailing, some light creative things. This is going to be perfect for most consumer-based people. Because honestly, the Air really was more than people who bought it actually needed. But now this puts people in a position where they don't have to spend as much money because they're paying for what they need. With the Air, most people were paying for more than what they needed, which is why I think this is perfect. It's going to kill the Chromebook market because I honestly think this is better than most Chromebooks. And then that price. I was genuinely shocked by that price because I couldn't fathom them being able to make it this cheap, especially because it's Apple. But no, $599 or $699 for 512. And yes, it is limited, but again, you gotta keep in mind this is for people who don't need that. This is for a specific audience, but for that audience, this is amazing. I honestly think this is going to be so good for the Mac because it is such a good entry point. The Mac is finally accessible, y'all. I there there's people I know and even me. I've always wanted a Mac, but it was so expensive and inaccessible. But this breaks that barrier to finally make the Mac accessible, and you get the Mac experience. It's aluminum. I mean, the design is great. The screen is great for what it is. The chip it's fast enough for what the people who are going to be buying this need to do, and it comes in amazing colors. And I love the design. Like I honestly think this is going to disrupt the Chromebook market, and I don't think you can beat this. Like I'm literally going to be recommending this to people now. Like there's literally some people that I know that are in the market for either a new Mac or a new computer, and I'm going to be recommending this to them now because it is just so good. So yeah, that was the Apple Week, and obviously the star of the show and what I am most excited about is the MacBook Neo. I want to go to the Apple Store, see what it looks like, making a first impression video or hands-on video because I'm not buying it. Um, but this is gonna be so good. Like I cannot honestly, I can't believe Apple's doing this in the midst of a Rams crisis. Like Apple is bad, you know. This is so good. All right, so moving on to the Nintendo news. So Nintendo had an Indie World showcased on Tuesday. It was only 15 minutes. These are all the games we got. So we have then what? Denchatatat, or whatever that is. My Little Puppy. Kind of sounds like My Little Pony. Havo Ho 2, Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault, Voodoo, Mini Shoot Adventures, The Midnight Walk, Rotwood, Mixtape, Blighted, Dead Zone Rogue. That actually looks interesting. I need to go back and watch that. I don't want to get copyrighted here. Oh, this actually looks interesting. That actually looks really interesting. And then Blueprints. Now, I'm going to be honest. I watched about 7 minutes of it, But I was busy with the Apple thing, and I was like, you know what? But overall, it was boring. I have to say, these lineups actually look like some very high quality indie games. But the problem is that literally all of these games, except for whatever that is, I didn't watch that far, I'm not interested in. So to me, it was boring. And this goes back to that thing I've been talking about for like the past month. What is Nintendo doing? In itself, this presentation was not bad. Neither were basically all the other ones. The problem is, this is not what we need. Nintendo is throwing everything at us except for what we need. We need a big general direct. People are not going to like this because it's not what we need. It's not what we need. It's just like if you have a cold or something, and instead of taking cold medicine, you take like ibuprofen for a headache. It's not gonna help your cold because it's not cold medicine. We need a general direct. An indie world direct is not meant for that. It's not going to help us in our need for a general direct. Like, what is Nintendo doing, y'all? Come on now. And I'm gonna have a video about this coming up soon. But oh my god. Like, I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know. Um so yeah, that has been a week. Wow. I am very tired. My voice is like about to die. Um um I just wanna like I don't know. I honestly I don't know honestly. I really would I don't know. Um I need to film the Mario Day video today, but honestly, I don't know. I may do it tomorrow afternoon because my voice like just needs a break, like a break. Like, yeah. So, anyways, guys, thank you for watching this podcast episode. Sorry about that outro, but yeah, I will see y'all next week.